States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you very much. Good evening, everyone. My name is Sarah DiDonatis, and I am the Vice President of the Women's Civic League of St. Clair Shores. We wish to welcome you to tonight's Town Hall as we hear from City Council candidates who are on the ballot for the upcoming election. Since 1939, the Women's Civic League has provided 86 years of service to our great city and is honored to organize these town hall forums. The Women's Civic League is a nonpartisan organization run solely by volunteers. We receive no city, county, or private funding. Our work is our own, and we provide this town hall as a service to our community to ensure that the right to vote is also the right to vote educated. We wish to thank every single member of the Civic League for their undying support, volunteerism, and willingness to give up their time to do all that we do. Our President, Janice Neron, Debbie Powell, Candace Rusi, Cassandra Rusi, and Carol Kapusnak. I do have to note that none of tonight's town hall was coordinated or organized with either Candace Rusi or Cassandra Rusi, as Candace is one of our candidates this evening. I wish to thank Steve Folkrod, for our city's communications director, and his staff for graciously providing the city chambers and television services, on top of posting the recordings of this event on the city website for every citizen to access. Every time the Women's Civic League of St. Clair Shores hosts a town hall, we are provided questions from the audience to the city council members about our beautiful Lake St. Clair and our school systems. Please let it be known that the City Council does not have any real jurisdiction over our waterways or our school systems. Any and all questions in regards to the school systems, Lakeview, South Lake, and Lake Shore, should be either brought to the school that your child is attending or brought to the superintendent's office of that school system. Any questions in regards to our beautiful lake, our rivers, and streams should be brought to the Macomb County Public Works Office, who manages the water resources and environmental concerns of our local waterways. You may also contact the Michigan Department of Environment, Great Lakes, and Energy, who oversee the state water quality and other issues related to our state's waterways. Thank you so much for understanding. If you are interested in learning more about the Women's Civic League, please talk with one of our members tonight, or you can visit our Facebook page under Women's Civic League of St. Clair Shores. Candidates, thank you so much for being part of our town hall tonight. This is a wonderful way for our city to hear your positions firsthand on important issues that affect us all. Thank you all who are here this evening to witness this town hall, and those who are watching the recording of this very important forum. It gives me great pleasure to introduce our MC for the evening. He has helped us in so many times throughout the years. We're not going to say how many years, though, are we? They've been countless. But we are eternally grateful for the services and help that he offers us. Please help me in welcoming the Honorable Mark Fredicangeli.
All right, well, welcome everybody. It's officially I think the first or second day of fall, so it's time for the Women's Civic League Meet the Candidate Night and Monday Night Football. So as we discussed before, we're going to try to keep this to about an hour so that we can all watch the game. Hopefully we have it recorded. If you guys go long, I'm going to live stream it. I told you. I'll keep it on my phone, and we'll have to live stream the game. So, but it's such an important event that we have here tonight. I'm so happy we have such a good turnout. I've been to a few of these where we've only had 10 or 15 people in the audience, and it's so nice to see everybody come out to ask questions of their candidates. In tonight's discussion, we have only the council members that are running this term. We've in the past have had state reps, county commissioners run. In this particular case, we only have people who are running for the council position. There are 6 candidates that are going to be on the ballot. We have 5 of them here tonight that want to tell you about themselves, and you'll have an opportunity to ask questions through the cards that are circulating. Put your name on the card. I'll try to summarize the questions to the best of my ability. Sometimes there's just too many to ask. And so I try to condense a few, but we'll try to get all your questions answered. If we don't get an opportunity to have all your questions answered, each of these candidates have contact information that they're going to present to you. So you can always get those answers from them on another occasion or informally on the side. What we do in this particular format is we give each person an opportunity to have 2 minutes to introduce themselves, and then we'll have the question and answer session, and then we'll have 1 minute for conclusion. Now, we will start out in no particular order. Let's start with Councilman Karen.
All right.
I'll give you a little background a bit about Mr. Karen. John Karen is a lifelong resident of St. Clair Shores and is currently a councilman and has been since 2012, which also included being the mayor pro tem 3 times. He is employed as a community services coordinator for the Macomb County Public Works. He serves on the St. Clair Shores Beautification and Historical Commissions, as well as the Animal Ordinance Committee. He is vice chair of both the South Macomb Disposal Authority and Southeast Macomb Sanitary District. He is a member of Shorewood Kiwanis. Mr. Karen, you have 2 minutes.
Thank you, Judge Frederick Congley, and thank you for everyone for coming out tonight, and thank you for the Women's Civic League for putting on this forum as they do every year, so greatly appreciated. So I'm running for another 4 years on City Council, and one of the things I've always taken pride in is I feel like I'm the one that goes through the budget, the numbers, the finances, because if we don't have a good fiscal house in order, we can't afford to do anything else. And that's great pride I take in the time I've been up here, that we've navigated some very rough waters in terms of coming out of the recession, where we had an incredible drop in property values, which also led to a drop in property taxes, drop in revenue to the city. We navigated our way through that, navigated our way through COVID, and just dealt with all the challenges that came along with that. But if we don't have a good fiscal house, we can't afford to do all the big improvements that we like, and we're still able to do all that. You know, for example, last 5 years, we spent $5.5 million upgrading police and fire equipment, including 27 police vehicles, 3 ambulances, and 2 fire engines. We put $19 million into our Parks and Rec department, including our big, beautiful Blossom Mead Pier, that is really a jewel on the lake now and attracting tourists and visitors to our city. But also looking at our neighborhood parks, we've built 8 new playgrounds in the last 5 years. We've expanded services at our senior center by adding a parking lot, walking track, and very important to me, a nice canopy very front of the senior center is a great welcoming. Take a little personal pride in that canopy because when we did the expansion, that was a part of the senior advisory committee back then, we had a $1.7 million expansion. We couldn't afford it. It got taken out of the budget. And that was something that when we had the funds from community block grant to put back into the senior center the last couple of years, I made sure I went and found those forms and got those back in place. So thank you.
Thank you, Councilman. Our next candidate is Adora Calhoun. She's been a resident of St. Clair Shores for 6 years. She is a retired probation agent for the state of Michigan. She has a bachelor's degree in criminal justice and a certificate in gerontology. Ms. Calhoun is the vice chair for the Senior Citizens Advisory Committee, a board member for Shorewood Kiwanis, and was named Kiwanis 2024 Rookie of the Year. She is also a member of the St. Clair Shores Snow Brigade, along with volunteering for a number of organizations. Ms. Calhoun, you have 2 minutes.
Okay, thank you. Go Lions. Firstly, I want to thank the Women's League for hosting this. I want to say that I am not a politician. I'm a public servant. I'm a senior that simply cares about her community. I'm a proud military spouse. My husband, Robert, is a Vietnam era veteran, and if there are any veterans in the room, I want you to know I am forever grateful for your service. I'm a senior advocate, and I'm a resource for veterans. I am a law enforcement professional, and as a result of my background, I was endorsed by Macomb County Prosecutor Pete Lucido. My husband and I chose to move to St. Clair Shores after we retired, and the first thing we did, we started volunteering. As a result of my volunteer efforts, I was mentioned as one of 10 women that give back to the city of St. Clair Shores. I will always listen, and you will always have a voice in the room where decisions are made. And thank you for your time.
Thank you. Our next candidate is a current councilwoman, Candace Rusi. She's a councilwoman for St. Clair Shores and has been since 2009. She has been a resident of St. Clair Shores for 35 years and is a licensed attorney. She graduated from Lakeshore High School in the top 10 of her class. She received a full academic scholarship to Wayne State University, where she obtained her Bachelor's of Art degree in physiology.
Psychology.
Sorry, they're so similar. I apologize. You minored in criminal justice, though, right?
Minor in criminal justice,
There we go. I got that
correct.
part right. Councilwoman Rusi received her law degree from Michigan State University College of Law, also on a full scholarship, graduating magna cum laude. Councilwoman Rusi is a member of the Women's Civic League, along with volunteering and donating to many St. Clair Shores civil organizations. You may proceed.
Thank you. My name is Candace. I've had the honor of representing the residents of the city since 2009, just like Judge Merck has stated, and I hope to continue to be able to do so. By November, I have done this job for 16 years, and I know through my experience that serving on council is a part-time job, yes, but it has full-time obligations and responsibilities. I recognize that the job extends far beyond this council table. I recognize that it requires personal and professional sacrifice at times, and that it has its challenges. During my 4 terms, I believe I have done the job to the best of my ability at and away from the table. At the table, I do my homework and research. I prepare for meetings. I listen to all viewpoints and ask questions, sometimes really tough questions, but I'm not afraid to ask them. I'm also not afraid to say no if I think something can ever be done differently or better. I believe in proper process and procedures always and no matter what, and I don't believe good ends ever justify faulty means. My background education as attorney helps, I think, given that a lot of what we do on council involves passing ordinances and entering into contracts. We need to make sure we do things legally and ethically. With all the work I do and all the attention I put into as a result, I can explain and stand by every single vote I've taken over all these 16 years, which is around, I think, 3,360 votes, around 21 meetings a year, approximately 10 votes a meeting, so that's a lot. I'm proud of my record. I stand in defense of transparency and accountability. I always try to do the right thing and be a good steward over the resources of the city for the residents. Away from the table, I do a lot of time fielding questions from residents on Facebook, making sure people get solutions and explanations. I do a lot of volunteerism. I support local businesses and restaurants. And I want to thank the Women's Civic League and my fellow candidates for the opportunity tonight to again address the residents and their questions. So thank you.
Candace. Next candidate is Councilman David Rivello, who is a current councilman and has been since 2007. He's a lifelong resident of St. Clair Shores and a graduate of Lakeview High School. He went to Central Michigan University for broadcasting and communications. Councilman Rivello works as a sales representative for the St. Clair Shores Sentinel. He is the co-creator of the St. Clair Shores Social District, along with volunteering for numerous St. Clair Shores Association committees.
Thank you, Mark, and thank you for everybody for taking the time to come out here this evening, especially the Women's Civic League. First thing I'd want to say about this job is you have to genuinely like people. You have to genuinely want to talk to them. You want to solve their problems, and that's what we do. We solve problems, don't we, Dave? Okay. So this is there's a lot of volunteering. In fact, I've won the John Gaynor State of Michigan Award for volunteering for small newspapers, Macomb County Volunteer, Optimist of St. Clair Shores, a volunteer award for that. So you have to like people, and I like people. You have to be accessible to people, and I'm accessible to people. Like Candace said, we're on Facebook a lot, and we're answering questions, and that's what people want to know. I'm out in the public a lot. I'm an open target for people that want to ask anything they want to. So you have to put it out there. You have to hang out with the people, and I think I do a good job of all that. And that's one of the big reasons why I am rerunning for a position this year. I like people. I like to solve problems. I want to help. To me, it's a challenge. Exciting night here. I like this stuff. I want to get into, some of the stuff that I want to see, and we're doing. We want to keep financially strong here. We have balanced budgets. We have great audits. We do still sharpen our pencils. This is a strong city. Strong police and fire department for sure. I'm all in. Parks and Recreation, we have a great quality of life here in St. Clair Shores, and I want to see that it continues. Improving our senior center, seniors backbone of the community. Water quality, I'm a boater, and I love, clean water like we all do.
Thank you, Councilman Rebello. Our next candidate is Brian Owens. He's a lifelong resident of Macomb County. He went to Macomb County Community College and Audiology Academy of America. His occupation is, now this is even harder than psychology, audioprostologist.
Right.
All right. We'll let you talk more about that in a minute. He is a president of the Optimist Club of St. Clair Shores and a member of the Senior Advisory Committee and volunteers for many community events. Brian, let's hear about yourself.
Thanks, Judge. And again, I'd like to thank everybody for showing up too. This is a great crowd, and I'd like to see people out because this is educated voting, and like Sarah said earlier, that's what's important. Not going up to the polls and just marking down, the people that you think you like their name. This is educated voting. And also, what Dave said was important too. It's we're up here for the people of St. Clair Shores. In the past year, I've helped raise over $40,000 for the kids of St. Clair Shores through the Optimist Club. I'm the creator of Pizza Palooza, which helped a little boy with autism. I'm a volunteer at the Nautical Mile Cleanup, volunteer at the Senior Center, volunteer at the Fine Arts Fair. And why I mention these because I believe that these are important because this makes the city what it is. This is why people come to the city, because we have events like this. And without volunteers and without the help of the residents, we just don't have that. I've built my business from the ground up, and I have a very successful business with 3 practices. And I believe that I can bring a lot of my business knowledge to the City Council and the City of St. Clair Shores.
Thank you, Mr. Owens. Ms. Calhoun, let's start out with you just giving us the contact information, so if residents have additional questions and aren't able to be asked tonight, they can reach out to you.
I do have a website. It's calhounforcitycouncil.com, or I can be reached at 586-298-1077.
Mr. Karen, how about your information?
Yeah, the campaign email is keepkarenoncouncil@att.net, and phone number is 586-777-0611.
Thank you. Mr. Owens?
My email is Brian Owens, Brian with a Y, 3274@gmail.com. My phone number is 586-295-3379.
Mr. Rebello?
I don't have any cool emails like Retain Rebello, but mine's just straight up Dave Rebello at Netscape.net. And when people see Netscape.net, that's a throwback, Netscape. They want to know how I got that. And I said, that's 30 years old. And you can reach me 586-489-8117. But, Judge, most of the time, people can just walk up to me, and I'm out in public a lot, events, on the road is my job, and ask away. They do anyways. They always.
All right, well, I think it's a cool email, but I'm really old, so.
Okay.
I don't know if that's a good bar. Ms. Rusi?
I'm also part of the old email club with Candace Rusi, all one word, CANDICRUSIE @AOL.com. I think I made it when we got one of those CD-ROMs in the mail. So yes, Candace Rusi @AOL.com, phone number 586-612-3098. And I'm on Facebook a whole lot, and people like to reach out to me through messages, tagging, comments, resident group, anything like that. I'm always available.
Councilwoman, let's stick with you for our first question, and you'll have a minute to respond. The Women's Civic League wants to know, of course, do you support growth and development in St. Clair Shores? And what do you feel is the biggest opportunity for St. Clair Shores to grow, and what might be a missed opportunity?
Well, I think the biggest opportunity is also the biggest challenge we have, and that's passing a balanced budget, making sure that we spend our money wisely. Like John said, we can't do anything without that. So I think we need to engage in fiscal responsibility, smart bidding practices, spend our money wisely, budget wisely, and forecast wisely. We have a 5-year forecast, we have a master plan, we have a Parks and Rec master plan, and we need to make sure we stick to those things. In terms of biggest opportunity, I just think we just keep on making the city a good place to live. We keep on looking at ordinances, being business friendly, and continuing making smart investments and keeping the city a safe, secure, and good place where people want to raise their families.
Thank you.
I'm really bad with time, so I was trying to talk fast.
Perfect.
Thank you.
Mr. Rubello?
Growth in the city of St. Clair Shores, that's the question?
Yeah, we'll restart it for you.
That was
I'll
mine.
just finish your
Yeah, you just
15.
Your
finished
minute's
mine.
up.
You finished my last 10 seconds. Thank you,
Okay.
Dave.
Well, of course, you do,
That live streaming is it's still 35 minutes away, but go ahead.
you do support the growth and development in St. Clair Shores. How would you promote that? And
oh.
what do you see as our biggest opportunities?
This is the type of stuff that gets me going, because I like, I think Candace just mentioned the master plans. I like the master plans. I like we have a Parks and Rec master plan too. I love quality of life issues. I like what I created down there, or helped create, because none of this stuff can be done without volunteers helping you every step of the way. And what I created and helped, or should I say helped create, is a beautiful social district down there. And you want to talk about growth, economic growth at the 9 Mile and Mac, a downtown business area down there has taken off. And it's great to know, and these are some of the things why you want to participate on the city council, so you can help these things take off. I've been a salesperson for CNG newspaper, St. Clair Shores Sentinel, for 41 years. We need business growth. I see the difficulties businesses have, and I want to help.
Thank you. Mr. Owens?
Yeah, growth is absolutely important, and growth is also new families coming to the city, and that's why we have all these events. That's why we need the volunteers for all these events. So if we don't have the volunteers, we don't have these events. Because if we're not bringing in these new residents, some other city is. And that's why it's important to bring in the new residents for the new tax dollars. And like I said, I run one of the biggest private practices in Metro Detroit. I started out with 1 patient. And getting to where I've got to today, I believe in growth, definitely, and I know how to do it. And I believe that we need to grow up. I believe that we need to build up in high rises, because there's no land anymore for for us to build houses in the city. There's a couple lots here and there, but I believe developments on Jefferson would be very profitable and good for the city.
Thank you. Councilman Karen?
Justin, the timekeeper job is the most stressful in the room. So, a couple of things in terms of development. Candace had mentioned the master plan. That's a very critical document. I think in the past, it was basically overlooked. We had a company that came in, they basically copy and pasted things from other communities and gave us to us and said, hey, here's your plan. We didn't like that. We threw away that company and we started with a new one that was basically a master plan developed for St. Clair Shores. And one of the specific things I added to that plan was to start looking at development at 13 and Harper as another business district. We have the Tifa district, the Nautical Mile, we've got the downtown area, but the north end really need to have a focus around 13 and Harper. So that's now part of the master plan because of the multiple edits that I added to that. And we look at in terms of what does it mean to bring in families, definitely very strong Parks and Rec programs, very good parks that with new equipment, like I said, we have 8 new playgrounds that got invested in all around to make sure that those young families want to locate here and be a part of this great community.
Ms. Calhoun?
As far as growth, what the strategy I would.
Hang on 1 second. Let's let our timekeeper. There we go.
We ready? As far as growth, I would use social media to market St. Clair Shores to the world. I want everybody to know what a fabulous community we have. The parks and recreations, wonderful place to live, to shop. I would brand the city as a destination spot. I would make everybody outside of St. Clair Shores be so envious they would want to come and enjoy our parks and recreations and our lifestyle.
Thank you, Ms. Calhoun. Ms. Calhoun, we'll stick with you on this particular question. Being associated with the court, I hear a lot of complaints that don't necessarily are addressed to the court, but, you know, for council's view, issues that pop up, and they're numerous: on-street parking, garbage pickup, enforcement of codes in regard to these electric bikes that are everywhere on the streets now. How do you intend to keep your ear to the tracks when these issues pop up, and how will you be able to address them as these individuals ask you these questions?
Because I have 25 years in law enforcement, I believe in laws, rules, and regulations that keep all of us safe. I am accessible. If someone have individual concerns, I would do my best to address them. The first thing I would do is consider public safety.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Councilman Karen, same question.
Yeah, so basically one of the things of the advantages of social media is that it does give people a wide forum to express any concerns they have. And I'm also very active in monitoring the various groups to understand what concerns are out there. But it's also, once you hear those concerns, what do you do with that information? And one of the things I've taken pride in is I work with staff on a lot of ordinance changes, which are basically our laws. And I believe I've written more changes than any other council member, past and present, in terms of working with staff and making sure we're making those improvements so that we were reacting to, as issues change, that we've actually got laws in the books that affect those.
Thank you. Ms. Rowans.
Can you repeat the question one more time?
Sure. How are you going to keep your ear to the tracks when it comes to different issues that pop up that are concerns to your constituents?
Yeah, it's important that the residents are able to reach out to individual council members, and it's important that they do. You know, I mean, we're here for you, and social media and email. It's important that these are addressed, and what I would do is I would go to the professionals that know about these ordinances and ask them if there's something we can do for a resident's particular need in that area, whether it be lights or, potholes or, DPW department or things like that.
Thank you. Mr. Rubella.
When you say ear to the street, I'm pretty much on the street all day long here in St. Clair Shores, and I get a lot of this type of thing. I'm calling our code enforcement officer several times during the day when I see things pop up, or people are contacting me. In fact, I just had one. Somebody was in a bind, an elder, and his garage is in bad shape, needs to be painted, some stuff needs to be put in. She just asked me if I could gather up some people, which I have done in the past. This helps some residents sort of catch up on their property outside. Just ironically, it just happened a couple of hours ago. So I plan on helping that person get their property back in order. Candace and I just did one about a week or two ago. So that's what we do. That's what I mean. You have to love this job. You have to want to help people. And that's what I do.
Thank you. Councilwoman Ruzzi, who would have thought some of these issues that are present today would ever develop since you came on, how many years ago now?
16 in November.
We have changing complaints these days and issues, don't we? How do you address them?
Yes and no. It's always complaints, but
There's always potholes.
how people deliver them to you has changed. I mean, when I first got in council in 2009, Dave and I were spearheading the Facebook. Remember the city, we were the first city in Macomb County to have an active Facebook page, and that was before the residents groups, and we did so people had the venue to reach out to us. Nowadays, it seems that was February 2010, so that was one of the first things we did. Since it's transitioned to use of the residents groups, which I'm sure you lose any personal time if you have this job, if you do it the right way. And I am accessible 24/7 on the different residence groups. I monitor them so it can be reactive and proactive. And then you take the issues, you ask administration to send inspectors out, you ask them to check things, or like John said, you also have to sometimes, you look at issues, these are legitimate issues, and address them with the ordinances. I wrote the pink bag ordinance. Remember those pink bags they used to throw all over people's properties full of newspapers and would clog up people's snow blowers? Because a resident brought that to our attention. We wrote the ordinance and passed it to prohibit those.
Thank you. She's getting good at this. She
I
got
should've
2
missed it.
dings.
I got it. It makes up for the last one.
That's very impressive.
Should have missed the pink bags now.
Mr. Rebello, let's start with you on this one. Give you an opportunity to have a minute to tell us about your community involvement.
Well, Judge, it's sort of like, we were just talking about this earlier, that I could stand here all night. One of the ones that I take the most pride in is what I did for the residents of St. Clair Shores. Again, you can't do this alone, with help. I created the St. Clair Shores Snow Brigade, okay, with the help of people, with volunteers, through the St. Clair Shores Senior Center. People need help. They can call me up, get a hold of me, whatever. We'll go out there and we'll arrange for somebody to clean their snow. From tree lightings to Halloween in the park to all kinds of stuff. I have parades. I've raised thousands and thousands of dollars for our St. Clair Shores Memorial Day Parade with the help of 2 ladies back there. 3 ladies, so it's what we do, okay? And again, it's what we love to do. If anyone wants to know about all that, I can tell them in other ways.
Mr. Owens, go ahead.
So like I said, I'm the president of the Optimist Club of St. Clair Shores, and I was just awarded last week an international award of the President's Citation, which is for outstanding community involvement through the Optimist Club. And like I said, I was a creator of Pizza Palooza. I wanted something fun to come to the city, and it ended up being a huge event where we have over 2,000 people there. We've raised over $17,000 per year. And I'm a volunteer at the Senior Center, and I give senior citizens, I do what I could do. So I give them free service and free advice on their hearing, and I give free hearing tests because some people just can't afford to pay for things like that, and they deserve an honest answer. So I believe that the kids and the seniors of the city are extremely important. I'm a swim coach with the St. Clair Shores Lakers swim team, so I still, like to coach kids.
Councilman Karen.
Yeah, so that's one of the things. Once you're in these positions, you get put on so many different committees and commissions. It takes a lot to keep up in that, but that's what we're committed to once you are up at this seat. Prior to being on council, I think one of the things I take a lot of pride in, I chaired the Relay for Life at St. Clair Shores for 3 years. Back when we had thousands of participants coming to those events, and in those 3 years raised $475,000 to from the American Cancer Society. And a bigger part of that is that I helped register over 200 people to be part of the Cancer Prevention 3 study with the American Cancer Society to try to figure out what are the causes of cancer rather than always the research being focused on curing cancer. But in terms of beautification, I have 3 flower beds or 3 flower pots at the dog park I maintain every year for all seasons. I maintain the Veterans Memorial Park bed. So that all keeps me busy. Historical Commission, we've got historical plaques going up all over the city right now. So that gives you a good idea of the breadth of what it takes to volunteer here in City Council.
Thank you, Councilman. Ms. Calhoun.
As I mentioned before, when I arrived in St. Clair Shores, the first thing my husband and I started doing was volunteering to give back to our community. Currently, I'm the vice chair for the St. Clair Shores Advisory Committee. I'm also a member of the Snow Brigade. I volunteer for the Waterfront Environmental Committee, the Parade Committee of the American Lung Association, Meals on Wheels, the Detroit Marathon. I'm also on the Macomb County Elder Justice Alliance. I'm a bell ringer for the Salvation Army, and I also volunteer for the St. Clair Shores Night at the Races. Now, to be totally transparent, the Snow Brigade, my husband and I go out. I dust the snow off your porch, and my husband actually shovels your drive. So
There's no shame in that. Go. Thank you very much for your candor. All right, and Ms. Ruth.
Thank you. I'm a member of the Lakeside Pallet Club, Friends of the Library, the Two Kiwanis, Service Council Liaison to a number of boards and commissions, Clean Beaches, Shoreline, Community Garden Volunteerism, have 2 adopt roads in the city that I personally clean up with trash for the past 10 years with my fiance. Collect money for the Goodfellows, toward food for the post office, Stamp Out Hunger every year, volunteered with organizations Help the Homeless, Adults with Special Needs, Senior Center, Apple Pie Prep, Tree Plants, did a blanket drive this winter for the Animal Shelter, member of the Women's Civic League, Relay for Life team captain, raising tens of thousands of dollars. Halloween events, a ton of Halloween events. Me and John have the largest Halloween inflatable display for a number of years at Veterans Memorial. For Halloween in the Park, Science Olympiad coaching, whole sponsorships, baskets. My sister and I have literally dressed up as princesses back when we were younger for a number of events. Regular blood donor, Pay and Rock project, wrap gifts with a big family, also a lot of things over the past. I wrote down the list just so I didn't forget any, but I have a
Ladies and
lot.
gentlemen, if
And
you-
in my free time, no, I'm kidding. No, that's one thing we all have up here is we all have a lot of volunteer experience. We all get back to the community a lot.
Thank you very much for your service. If you go online and you rewatch this, you can slow it down to like half speed
I didn't even get through half of it.
to hear half of the things she does.
I didn't even get through half of it. Just follow me on Facebook, it's all there.
Great, thank you. Well, that exhausts the questions from the Women's Civic League. Now we have some questions from the audience. Linda B. asks, what are your thoughts on the millage on the ballot this November? Let's start with you, Mr. Owens.
Well, I believe that first of all, I believe that every millage should be left in the hands of the public. I don't think it should be decided by 6 or 7 people of the city. I believe the public should vote on the millage. Whether it be schools or police and fire, or anything else, library millage. I'm a big proponent of the police and fire department, and I do support the millage for the police and fire.
Thank you. Mr. Karen?
Thank you. Yeah, it was a matter of public record of when it came up for a vote, I was in favor of keeping the millage rate at the current rate and not asking for an increase. Why was that? Because fiscally, we're pretty sound. We got $15 million in the rainy day fund, actually projected this year, adding about $1.4 million to that rainy day fund. So didn't really see why we were asking the people for an increase after they've already had taxes go up due to inflation the prior 4 years. So it's very important that the police and fire department is funded. We have a lot of expensive equipment we have to buy for them, as I said earlier. But I really do wish that we had kept it at the current rate rather than asking the people to increase it.
Thank you. Ms. Calhoun?
as a law enforcement professional, I will always. Can I go? As a law enforcement professional, I will always support the police and fire. Always.
But how about the millage to pay for them?
I support the millage.
All right.
I support
all
the
right.
millage.
No second guessing there.
Oh, okay.
Okay, thank you. Ms. Rusi?
Okay. I echo John's sentiments. I did so with the council meeting. I wanted the 4.4 mil renewal for the same reasons John mentioned. I don't think the case was being made financially. Yes, people always pass the millage, and we're grateful for that, but we should be grateful for that and not trying to test the limits of their generosity by keep increasing the ask, especially when we haven't made the case to justify that. Yeah, I think that's how the city kind of loses some of its integrity if we just keep asking because we feel people will give it to us without saying this is why we need it. And every millage is in the hands of the public. What council does is we vote to put them on the ballot, and we have to take that vote. And we didn't put a 4.4 mil renewal. We ended up putting a 4.9 millage on the ballot, which is with the 5.5 increase. And unfortunately, we didn't put any information out to the public for them to voice their opinion beforehand. So actually, if we want to put it in the hands of the public, we should have given them the information beforehand so they could voice it before we take the vote on council. And we had nothing in the council packet online for the residents to look at to put that in the hands of the public.
Thank you. Mr. Rebella?
Thank you, Judge. Police and fire millage, I'm on record, I'm 100% in. The dollar isn't what it used to be, that's for sure, 10 years ago. You can't buy the same stuff. In fact, we just had somebody come up and bought some vehicles, and they were about $10,000 more than the last time they had bought it. So prices do go up. And again, I will say this, a good police and fire department makes your city desirable, makes people want to live here, play here, recreate here. I am for it. I've always been for it right from the get-go. And let the people decide on the level of safety that they want. We don't live in Xanadu anymore. So, and you as a judge probably see some examples of that. So I want to keep on guard.
All right. Thank you very much. It's an interesting question by Barbara Kelly. And actually, three people asked the same question, which I think is kind of interesting. And we're going to start with you, Councilman Karen. What have you done to earn my vote? She wants to know. That's an interesting question. And I think everything that you've all said so far kind of would imply that you've earned our vote. But what do you think is most important to you?
So let me talk about what I want to do going forward, because I think we can talk, a lot of what's happened in the past. I'm very much involved with how we manage the infrastructure of the city. That is road planning, water main replacement, sewer, repairs, storm sewer repairs. We've got to get a lot more technology in place, starting to use AI tools to evaluate our roads. We shouldn't have an individual going around and guessing what they think the road condition is when we have AI tools out there today that can get used. We've got AI tools that can use camera footage from a sewer that can see things that people can't see when they're just looking at it on a screen and video, to actually see what the conditions are so we can prioritize the right repairs for the most critical areas. And I think that going forward the next 4 years, I want to see that advanced technology starting to get used so that we can get ahead of the problems rather than always going back and trying to fix them.
Thank you. Ms. Calhoun?
St. Clair Shores is my home. I have poured my heart into this city through volunteering and service. And now I want to bring that same commitment to City Hall.
Thank you, Ms. Calhoun. We will not double beep you at all, right, Madam Timekeeper? She didn't even get a chance to put the minute on the book. But thank you, Ms. Calhoun. Ms. Rusi?
Thank you.
Why have you earned our vote?
I've done this job for 16 years. I've taken 3,360-ish votes. I haven't counted, but I did the math. I think we have a strong city. I think we have good city services. We've seen the city as a team through tough times. I work very well, I think, with my colleagues. Even if sometimes I disagree with them, we put our 7 heads together to try to come up with the best solution to move the city forward. And I think the evidence is out there in the city right now and how well we're doing. And personally, I try to be very accessible to the residents. I give up a lot of my time with all the volunteerism, with all the Facebook monitoring, and trying to solve a ton of problems for the residents when they do pop up, and being reactive and proactive, and trying to make the city a better place to live for people. And I've been doing that, and I would want to continue to do that, which is why I'm running again. So I hope I've earned my vote with your vote to retain my seat with my record. Thank you.
Mr. Ribello?
Why have I earned their vote? I work hard every day for the city of St. Clair Shores and the people. Very accessible on Facebook or any other place you're looking. I didn't want to get on in all the volunteer stuff that has helped make the city better, but there's plenty of it here. And I hope I've earned the vote, too, of the animal kingdom in St. Clair Shores. I have passed and worked with the state of Michigan to pass something called Teddy's Law, that is a law now that you can't kill dogs or cats that were in laboratories. They have a useful life after they're let out. So that's one of my biggest accomplishments, even though really it's not St. Clair Shores, but that's where my heart is, okay, even though it could affect St. Clair Shores people. And I am accessible. I don't know how many more things that I can do to make it a better town, but we have a nice, stable community that people love to live in, and that's why I do this.
Thank you. Mr. Owens?
So I've been a lifelong resident because I choose not to leave. You know, I have a practice in Monroe, I have a practice in Ann Arbor. Those are far away. I could move closer there, but I love St. Clair Shores, so I don't mind the drive. All the volunteer work that we all do up here, you know, it's important to keep the city running and moving forward, okay? So why have I earned your vote? I guess it's because I'm here to help you, no matter what. I'll be here to help you if I'm not voted in. I'll be here to help you after I'm voted in. And I can even help you more if I'm on city council.
Thank you. Mr. Karen, I know we started with you in this last question, but I'm going to start with you on this next question as well, because you kind of brought up the issue previously when you were talking about budgetary constraints, and typically I won't read a question that is not signed, but I think it's a pertinent question. We've seen the good times where we have the ability to add to our rainy day fund, and we see the raindrops falling as well, where we've had it taken out. In your experience and in your vision of the future of the city, if we have to make cuts, the question asked specifically $50,000 in cuts, where would your first cut come?
You've got to start looking at building up efficiencies first. And that's in terms of how departments work, remove overlap. That's probably the first things you do. I think the other way to basically economize is how you make sure you have a very open bidding process, and that you're, making sure that if projects are going out for bid, it's all fair, everyone has a shot at it, and that you're taking the best low cost bidder that is out there, and that is the way that you save that money. Fortunately, financially, we're in good times. We've had to, we've dealt with like the pool, for example. We had to put $3.5 million into the pool as emergency repairs. We were able to afford to do that. That's a large number to do on a spur that was not part of any long-term plan. But we were able to do that because we kept the fiscal house in order for so many years and had that good track record.
Thank you. Ms. Calhoun, where would, if you were in the position where you had to make a cut, where would it go?
Firstly, I would say that essential services should never be touched. They will always remain in place. If I had to make a cut, it would be something like tree trimming or landscaping.
Thank you. Ms. Rusi?
Thank you. Well, I was on council after the fallout of 2008, so we were in a position where we had to make a lot of cuts. And we did make a lot of cuts, a lot more than 50 grand, but in a way that didn't impact the services we were able to provide to the resident. We still have a swimming pool. We didn't have furlough days. What we did was we did seek some 5% wage concessions, including council took those. We did some contracting out, and we didn't have to make any sort of permanent types of options like other communities did, where we were closing swimming pools that we'll never get back, things like that. So 50 grand would be a very easy thing to do. Unfortunately, fortunately, I don't think we'll be in that position again. Our rainy day fund is over right now, 15 million. We've kept it strong, even though we have had to dip into it over the years just to keep things moving forward. There's always things we can pursue. We've done alternate funding through things like grants and bonds and things like that. So there'd be a way where we could keep the city moving forward and not have to impact the services we provide to the residents, even if we do have to save further money and efficiencies, bidding, et cetera, like we always do.
Thank you. Mr. Rebel.
Thank you. Great question. Not an easy one to answer, obviously, because someone's going to get mad, but I guess that's just what happens. I was around back in 2007, 2008, 2009, so I do remember some of those times. That was sort of when I was on the council the first time. So these types of issues would, in my opinion, be decided by 7 council members and seeing where we want to go in what direction. I really don't think it's the opinion of just one person. We're sort of, when you're on a council, you're on a team, and you have to work together. Just because I would cut item A doesn't mean 4 other people would do it too. So in some of the extensions and contracts, we haven't always just gone out to bid because we're finding a little bit now in modern times that if we put these things out to an open bid, we're going to be paying a higher price.
Thank you, Mr. Rubella. Mr. Owens?
I kind of agree with Dave on this, and I was going to pretty much say the same thing. It's when you have just a decision like this to make, I mean, our revenue is almost $50 million. 50,000 really isn't too much, but if you have a couple of 50,000s, then it becomes, you know, a decent amount. And I think that's not a question that one person should be answering. I think it should be a question that's answered by, you know, by the council and by 7 people. And it should be voted on what needs to be trimmed and what doesn't.
Well, none of you said cuts to the court, so I'm happy. Ms. Calhoun, next question. Over the next 4 years, do you have any pet projects that you'd like to see implemented if you are elected?
I'm glad you asked. One of the things I would like to see, as I canvass the city, a lot of residents are concerned about blight. I would like to establish a committee just for blight, in which the community would have an opportunity to come in. Perhaps we met once a month. They could come in and share their issues with us, their issues and concerns. We can put together an action plan. So that will be one of my pet projects.
Thank you very much. Ms. Rusi?
Thank you. I don't know if pet project is the right phraseology for that, but personally, I would like to see, I've worked with Councilman Frederick on the playgrounds project, and we did the 8 playgrounds. I would like to maybe introduce a tot lot to the city if we were talking about those type of projects. I think something geared toward the toddlers like they have in Grosse Pointe would be really cool. Maybe a sensory playground, really sensory aspects of the playground for children with special needs, and continue the library improvements, just like with Councilman Frederick. We're doing the youth library right now. The library is actually closed while we do renovations to youth room, genealogy, and some other things. I would like to continue with some library improvements to keep moving our library into the 21st century in an old building, and do some retrofitting to make sure the building's up to current standards and the standards we want to move into with the programming and services we offer at the library. So I would like to continue that.
Thank you. Mr. Rubella, let's just wait 1 second. All right, you're on.
This stuff's exciting.
It is,
I
isn't
almost jumped your little gun there. I don't know about pet projects. It's to me, I'm not like a pet project guy, but if I was to pursue some of this stuff that makes economic sense, I sort of jotted some stuff down here. There's that Chippewa baseball field that's sitting back there, and I just remember playing sports on that. It's a beautiful field, and I think there's room for our baseball leagues to put some people back there and play, but that needs to be fixed up. Green planning, I don't know if you want to call that a pet project, rain gardens. The one thing I always really wanted to do, and I think I get sometimes a joke from John, I think, about connecting the 9MAC Business Association with the Nautical Mile Business Association. And somehow it could all fit together to help each other.
Thank you. Mr. Owens?
I would like to see the blight cleaned up as well. I was in Salt Lake City a few weeks ago, and in Salt Lake City, they have these people walking around. They're called city ambassadors, and they just walk around and pick up garbage on the streets. And we seem to have a lot of that. If you follow behind a garbage truck anytime in the city, there's just stuff that just flies out. I think it's important that it's picked up because all of that ends up in our lake. And that's what I'd like to see.
Thank you. And Mr. Kerr?
So one of my current pet projects I'd really like to continue is all the improvements we're doing in Bryce Park, which is the very southern end of the city. Park that's open to anybody. We have people from all sorts of different communities that come visit it. In particularly the Arboretum that we created, where we have like almost 300 trees, 47 different species. something very unique to just not Macomb County, but also Metro Detroit. In a broader sense, really building on the Downtown Development Authority, on the improvements we can do at downtown. I already talked about trying to do a business district at 13 and Harper, but I think we've got to start focusing on those areas as well to make sure that they can really shine and be a beacon for businesses that continue to locate in our city.
Thank you. All right, and our final question, kind of lighthearted question. Historical figure, past, present. Who do you most emulate, or who would you most respect, Ms. Rusi?
Historical.
You can't say me.
That's a tough question. I'm not sure I can name any actual historical figure, but people in my own life who have passed. My grandparents, they gave a lot to people in need. They gave a lot to their community. They loved their family. My parents were around, my parents too, just people in my family who set a really good example and that you want to emulate.
So you didn't want to upset either mom or dad to...
You know what, my dad growing up, I remember him working nights, and he still works, not nights, but CNC lathe work machinery just to keep the, food on the table, and he worked really hard. I didn't always appreciate that as a kid. But now as an adult, I look at, he was getting up, he wasn't missing those things out of fun. He was doing so to keep the lights on and to keep food on the table, and just the hard work and perseverance. I think that's something we all should emulate.
Very nice, thank you. That's tough being put on the spot and the first person to ask that question.
Oh, my mom's like this, and I got 2 seconds left, and she's wonderful too. She's the one who put that food on the table as well.
You can take care of her later, don't worry about that. David?
I love these questions. This is my favorite one, actually, because I've asked several people, if you were standing in front of somebody who's the only person, it can't be your mother or your dad or some figure like that, if you stood in front of him, he could make you cry. So that's just something for you to ponder, maybe ask your wife tonight. But I'll get to my answer. I bounce back between Smokey Robinson, because of the history of Smokey Robinson in Detroit in the world. But I err on the side of Brian Wilson from the Beach Boys, and there's a reason for that. He was a survivor, okay? He had plenty of problems of all kind, and he fought through them all and actually outlived his whole family when he should have been the first to go.
Oh, thank you.
I like the question.
Mr. Owens, do you like that question, and who would it be?
I do like that question. As a matter of fact, Dave and I have talked about this before. Person I would emulate would be Arnold Schwarzenegger. Arnold Schwarzenegger, I mean, even about being Mr. Universe 8 times, he grew up in Austria and left Austria, came to the United States with $27 in his pocket, ends up being the governor of California. He fights for world climate change, and he's still lifting weights at 78 years old. And that's who I want to be when I'm 78 years old.
All right, Councilman Karen, who do you want to be when you grow up?
Don't say Dave Rebuttal.
I actually have a distant cousin up in the UP that has been doing a lot of genealogy searches and came across that, let me see if I get the number right, my great-great-great-grandfather was the lieutenant governor of Quebec, and that going way back to the early to mid-1800s and that. So it's like never any idea of anyone within my family that had been in public service. So I, kind of emulate that of like, wow, that was like such a cool fact to see. Kind of going back to my parents, especially my dad, who was a barber in the city for 39 years, and you hear growing up all the stories that came through the barbershop of everything that was going on in the community. So I kind of made sure of one of the things that he complained about is that there's a year where code enforcement came by and told him he was no longer allowed to have a spinning barber pole. And that, because we had an ordinance about rotating signs. So I made sure we changed that ordinance in his honor.
I knew
so that
it.
spinning barber poles are now legal in St. Clair Shores again.
All right. Ms. Calhoun, final word.
I didn't even have to think about this. The person I most admire is my mom. My mother had a third grade education, but because she valued education so much, she had 6 children. We're all contributing members to society. There are 4 master's degrees and 5 college degrees because she valued education so much. That's who I most admire and will always admire.
Thank you very much for that response. Ms. Calhoun, we'll stick with you, and we're going to get into our final closing statements. You do have 1 minute to provide a closing statement. Begin.
I have a line that I will not cross. I am unbought and I am unbossed. I'm a law enforcement professional. Public safety will always come first. I'm a resource for veterans and I'm an advocate for seniors. I will always listen and I will be your voice in that circle where decisions are made.
Thank you very much. Councilman Karen.
Thank you. Again, thank you for everyone that showed up tonight. Thank you to Women's Civic League for hosting. Thank you, Judge, for moderating. Great job as always. Yeah, I'm asking for another 4 years because every time there's new challenges. And I always look forward to what those new challenges are. One of the things I take great pleasure of serving is actually fixing problems within the city, whether it's through writing ordinance changes, working on master plans, working directly with staff to make sure projects are being done correctly. And then also responding to residents of making sure that in terms of whether it's code enforcement blight, issues are getting resolved. And I work very hard with staff, and I believe the staff respects that when I'm calling them, asking them to take care of something, they get right on it. And I greatly appreciate our staff here that fixes all those issues. But we do have challenges ahead. We've got infrastructure to fix, and we need to put all the tools in place to make sure we get ahead of all those challenges going forward. So I'm asking for your vote, either before by absentee or actually on November 4th. So thank you.
Thank you. Mr. Owens.
I'm asking for your trust and vote because I believe in a strong St. Clair Shores, and I believe in a strong fire and police department, and I believe in a strong and unified city council as well. And there's been a lot of no votes lately, and I think that the residents deserve a more unified city council. And there's just so much more that I can do for the residents of the city if I was on city council. I can bring my knowledge of owning a business to the city, and I know how to treat people. I know how to treat mid-management, administration, even the smallest of employees, to make sure that their work is efficient and accurate as possible.
Mr. Rebella.
Retain Rebello. I came up with something there. Okay, so that's either absentee or November 4th. For the past 4 years, I've worked hard to make this city something special. I've worked hard to put us on the map. I've gave us some pretty good times, and that's what I like to do. I like to promote this town, and that's what I'm best at. And I've made some solid votes, strong votes. Never one time have I, there's been tough ones. So sometimes we do make mistakes up here, okay? We are not prone to it, but I think we can go back and we fix things and we talk to people because we solve problems when they have them. And that's what I do. I listen to people, we solve problems. And there's plenty of good times up here, and I'm going to continue to have them and enjoy St. Clair Shores.
Thank you, Councilman. Councilwoman Mercy.
Thank you. Want to thank the Women's Civic League. Thank you, Judge Merck, as always. Thank the other candidates for participating tonight. I'm asking for a vote on November 4th, or by November 4th, I guess, with the absentee votes. I think I've been accessible. I think I've been an independent voice on council. I think there are some things we should say no to. And I think we need to make sure that things are being done to the best that we can be, and that the rules are followed. I want to be around for another 4 years to hear the residents' issues and to help solve them. And I think I've done that, and I'm willing to do it for another 4 years if people will have me. So I stand on my record, and I'm proud of my record, and thank you for everything tonight.
Thank you, Councilwoman Brucey. Ladies and gentlemen, we made it before game time. Look at that. Spectacular. I want to thank a few people, all the ladies of the Women's Civic League, Janice, Sarah, thank you all. It's such a great accomplishment for their group to be able to present these candidates for your review. I'd like to thank the current councilpersons that are in the audience right now. Linda, Ron, congratulations for being here and asking some good questions too, by the way. But most of all, I would like to thank these candidates who have put themselves out there for your scrutiny and possible criticism. In a day and age where we're all under attack for expressing our views, it's really heartening to see people who are willing to step up and serve and express their opinions without the fear of repercussion. And it takes a lot of guts for you to be up here, for us to ask you questions, people that you don't know. And I think if we forget how much guts they have, we're doing everybody a disservice. People are quick to criticize and a little slow to compliment the accomplishment. So I would like to thank each and every one of you for having the fortitude to be here tonight and answer the questions. David, did you want to say something?
You too, Judge. You have it hard across the street there at the court. So thank you for everything you just said, because you know too.
Thank you, David. And I appreciate you all, and thank you very much.